All right, so welcome. We are doing the first 50 like we always do prior to the joining with our brother Dave, Satsang with Dear One. Per his guidance, we start off every session with a reading of the first 50. So we're going to take a moment to be still, invite Holy Spirit in, and whoever feels to start, will start. Start. Nothing I see means anything. The reason this is so is that I see nothing, and nothing has no meaning. It is necessary that I recognize this, that I may learn to see. What I think I see now is taking the place of sight. I'm reading the COA version. What I think I see now is taking the place of sight. I must let it go by realizing that it has no meaning, so that vision may take its place. I have given what I see all the meaning it has for me. I have judged everything I look upon, and it is this and only this that I see. This is not vision. It is merely an illusion of reality, because my judgments have been made quite apart from reality. I am willing to recognize the lack of validity in my judgments because I want to see. My judgments have hurt me, and I do not want to see according to them. I do not understand anything I see. How could I understand what I see when I have judged it amiss? What I see is the projection of my own errors of thought. I do not understand what I see because it is not understandable. There is no sense in trying to understand it, but there is every reason to let it go, to make room for what can be seen and understood and loved. I can exchange what I see now for this merely by being willing to do so. Is not this a better choice than the one I made before? I'll do one more. These thoughts do not mean anything. The thoughts of which I am aware do not mean anything because I am trying to think without God. What I call my thoughts are not my real thoughts. My real thoughts are the thoughts I think with God. I am not aware of them because I have made my thoughts to take their place. I am willing to recognize that my thoughts do not mean anything and to let them go. I choose to have them replaced by what they were intended to replace. My thoughts are meaningless, but all creation lies in the thoughts I think with God. I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think because I am constantly trying to justify my thoughts. I am constantly trying to make them true. I make all things my enemies so that my anger is justified and my attacks are warranted. I have not realized how much I have misused everything I see by assigning its role to it. I have not realized how much I have misused everything I see by assigning its role to it. I'm going to start from the beginning. That's interesting. I am never upset for the reason I think because I am constantly trying to justify my thoughts. I am constantly trying to make them true. I make all things my enemy so that my anger is justified and my attacks are warranted. I have not realized how much I have misused everything I see by assigning its role to it. I have done this to defend a thought system which has hurt me and which I no longer want. I am willing to let it go. Ooh. You ready?
I am upset because I see what is not there. Reality is never frightening. Reality is never frightening. It is impossible that it could upset me. Reality brings only perfect peace. When I am upset, it is always because I have replaced reality with illusions I made up. The illusions are upsetting because I have given them reality, and thus regard reality as an illusion. Nothing in God's creation is affected in any way by this confusion of mine. I am always upset by nothing. I see only the past. As I look about, I condemn the world I look upon. I call this seeing. I hold the past against everyone and everything, making them my enemies. When I have forgiven myself and remembered who I am, when I have forgiven myself and remembered who I am, I will bless everyone and everything I see. There will be no past, and therefore no enemies. And I will look with love on all that I failed to see before. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. I see only my own thoughts, and my mind is preoccupied with the past. What then can I see as it is? Let me remember that I look on the past to prevent the present from dawning on my mind. Let me understand that I am trying to use time against God. Let me learn to give the past away, realizing that in so doing, I am giving up nothing. I see nothing as it is now. If I see nothing as it is now, it can truly be said that I see nothing. I can see only what is now. The choice is not whether to see the past or the present. The choice is merely whether to see or not. What I have chosen to see has cost me vision. Now I would choose again that I may see. My thoughts do not mean anything. I have no private thoughts. Yet it is only private thoughts of which I am aware. What can these thoughts mean? They do not exist, and so they mean nothing. Yet my mind is part of creation and part of its creator. Would I not rather join the thinking of the universe than to obscure all that is really mine with my pitiful and meaningless private thoughts? My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Since the thoughts of which I am aware do not mean anything, the world that pictures them can have no meaning. What is producing this world is insane, and so is what it produces. Reality is not insane, and I have real thoughts as well as insane ones. Reality is not insane, and I have real thoughts as well as insane ones. I can therefore see a real world if I look to my real thoughts as my guide for seeing.
I am upset because I see a meaningless world. Insane thoughts are upsetting, and they produce a world in which there is no order anywhere. Only chaos rules a world which represents chaotic thinking, and chaos has no laws. I cannot live in peace in such a world. I am grateful that this world is not real and that I need not see it at all unless I choose to value it. And I do not choose to value what is totally insane and has no meaning. A meaningless world engenders fear. The totally insane engenders fear because it is completely undependable and offers no grounds for trust. Nothing in madness is dependable. It holds out no safety and no hope. But such a world is not real. I have given it the illusion of reality and have suffered from my belief in it. Now I choose to withdraw this belief and place my trust in reality. In choosing this, I will escape all the effects of the world of fear because I am acknowledging that it does not exist. God did not create a meaningless world. How can a meaningless world exist if God did not create it? He is the source of all meaning, and everything that is real is in his mind. It is in my mind too because he created it with me. Why should I continue to suffer from the effects of my own insane thoughts when the perfection of creation is my home? Mm. Let me remember the power of my decision and recognize where I really abide. Mm. My thoughts are images that I have made. Whatever I see reflects my thoughts. It is my thoughts which tell me where I am and what I am. The fact that I see a world in which there is suffering and loss and death shows me that I am seeing only the representation of my insane thoughts and am not allowing my real ones to cast their beneficent light on what I see. Yet, God's way is sure. The images I have made cannot prevail against him because it is not my will that they do so. My will is his, and I will place no other gods before him. Hey, Heidi. Good to see you. I'm going to pass this to Anna. Anna, you ready? Give you a minute. All right, love? Okay.
I have no neutral thoughts. Neutral thoughts are impossible because all thoughts have power. They will either make a false world or lead me to the real one. But thoughts cannot be without effects. As the world I see arises from my thinking errors, as the world I see arises from my thinking errors, so will the real world rise before my eyes as I let my errors be corrected. My thoughts cannot be neither true nor false. They must be one or the other. What I see shows me which they are. I see no neutral things. What I see witnesses to what I think. If I did not think, I would not exist, because life is thought. Let me look on the world I see as the representation of my own state of mind. I know that my state of mind can change. And so I also know the world I see can change as well. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. If I have no private thoughts, I cannot see a private world. Even the mad idea of separation had to be shared before it could form the basis of the world I see. Yet that sharing was a sharing of nothing. I can also call upon my real thoughts, which share everything with everyone. As my thoughts of separation call to the separation thoughts of others, so my real thoughts awaken the real thoughts in them. And the world my real thoughts show me will dawn on their sight as well as mine. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am alone in nothing. Everything I think or say or do teaches all the universe. Everything I think or say or do teaches all the universe. A son of God cannot think or speak or act in vain. He cannot be alone in anything. It is therefore in my power to change every mind along with mine, for mine is the power of God. I am determined to see. Recognizing the shared nature of my thoughts, I am determined to see. I would look upon the witnesses that show me the thinking of the world has been changed. I would behold the proof that what has been done through me has enabled love to replace fear, laughter to replace tears, and abundance to replace loss. I would look upon the real world and let it teach me that my will and the will of God are one. I am determined to see things differently. What I see now are but signs of disease, disaster, and death. This cannot be what God created for his beloved Son. The very fact that I see such things is proof that I do not understand God. Therefore, I also do not understand his Son. What I see tells me that I do not know who I am. I am determined to see the witnesses to the truth in me, rather than those which show me an illusion of myself.
Thank you, Anna. Heidi, you feel to do a few?
you.
Nice to see you. I already told Anna, nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Yeah, it's so good to be here. What I see is a form of vengeance. The world I see is hardly the representation of loving thoughts. It is a picture of attack on everything by everything. It is anything but a reflection of the love of God and the love of His Son. It is my own attack thoughts that give rise to this picture. My loving thoughts will save me from this perception of the world and give me the peace God intended me to have. I can escape this world by giving up attack thoughts. Amen. Herein lies salvation and nowhere else. Without attack thoughts, I could see a world of attack. I could not see a world of attack. As forgiveness allows love to return to my awareness, I will see a world of peace and safety and joy. And it is this I choose to see in place of what I look on now. As forgiveness allows love to return to my awareness, I will see a world of peace and safety and joy. And it is this I choose to see in place of what I look on now. I do not perceive my own best interests. How could I recognize my own best interests when I do not know who I am? What I think are my best interests would merely bind me closer to the world of illusions. I am willing to follow the guide God has given me to find out where my best interests are, recognizing that I cannot perceive them by myself. And I do not know what anything is for. To me, the purpose of everything is to prove that my illusions about myself are real. It is for this purpose that I attempt to use everyone and everything. It is for this that I believe the world is for. Therefore, I do not recognize its real purpose. The purpose I have given the world has led to a frightening picture of it. Let me open my mind to the world's real purpose by withdrawing the one I have given it and learning the truth about it. My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. How can I know who I am when I see myself under constant attack? Pain, illness, loss, age, and death seem to threaten me. All my hopes and wishes and plans appear to be at the mercy of a world I cannot control. Yet perfect security and complete fulfillment are my inheritance. I have tried to give my inheritance away in exchange for the world I see. But God has kept my inheritance safe for me. My own real thoughts will teach me what it is. My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability.
You want to do a couple more?
Sure. It's because I love these ones. I love them all. I don't know. There's no.
Oh, it's always nice to say this one.
Above all else, I want to see. Recognizing that what I see reflects what I think I am, I realize that vision is my greatest need. The world I see attests to the fearful nature of the self-image I have made. If I would remember who I am, it is essential that I let this image of myself go. As it is replaced by truth, vision will surely be given me. And with this vision, I will look upon the world and on myself with charity and love. And above all else, I want to see differently. The world I see holds my fearful self-image in place and guarantees its continuance. While I see the world as I see it now, truth cannot enter my awareness. I would let the door behind this world be open for me, that I may look past it to the world that reflects the love of God.
Thank you, love. Ooh, I'll do a couple. God is in everything I see. Behind every image I have made, the truth remains unchanged. Behind every veil I have drawn across the face of love, its light remains undimmed. And beyond all my insane wishes is my will, united with the will of my Father. God is still everywhere and everything forever. And we who are a part of Him will yet look past all appearances and recognize the truth beyond them all. God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. In my own mind, behind all my insane thoughts of separation and attack is the knowledge that all is one forever. I have not lost the knowledge of who I am because I have forgotten it. It has been kept for me in the mind of God, who has not left his thoughts, and I, who am among them, am one with them and with him. I'll do one more. Cool. I am not the victim of the world I see. How can I be the victim of a world which can be completely undone if I so choose? My chains are loosened. I can drop them off merely by desiring to do so. The prison door is open. I can leave it simply by walking out. Nothing holds me in the world. Nothing holds me in this world. Only my wish to stay keeps me a prisoner. I would give up insane wishes and walk into the sunlight at last. I'll do one more. I have invented the world I see. I made up the prison in which I see myself. All I need to do is recognize this, and I am free. I have deluded myself into believing it is possible to imprison the Son of God. I was bitterly mistaken in this belief, which I no longer want. The Son of God must be forever free. He is as God created him and not what I would make of him. He is where God would have him be and not where I thought to hold him prisoner. One more. Ooh, there is another way of looking at the world. Since the purpose of the world is not the one I ascribe to it, there must be another way of looking at it. I see everything upside down, and my thoughts are the opposite of truth. I see the world as a prison for God's Son. It must be then that the world is really a place where he is set free. I would look upon the world as it is and see it as a place where the Son of God finds his freedom. Man, I forgot who you are. Hi.
I could see peace instead of this. I could see peace instead of this. When I see the world as a place of freedom, I realize that it reflects the laws of God instead of the rules I made up for it to obey. I will understand that peace, not war, abides in it. And I will perceive that peace also abides in the hearts of all who share this place with me. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. As I share the peace of the world with my brothers, I begin to understand that this peace comes from deep within myself. The world I look upon has taken on the light of my forgiveness and shines forgiveness back at me. In this light, I begin to see what my illusions about myself kept hidden. I begin to understand the holiness of all living things, including myself and their oneness with me. My holiness envelops everything I see. From my holiness does the perception of the real world come. Having forgiven, I no longer see myself as guilty. I can accept the innocence that is the truth about me. Seen through understanding eyes, the holiness of the world is all I see, for I can picture only the thoughts I hold about myself. My holiness blesses the world. The perception of my holiness does not bless me alone. Everyone and everything I see in its light shares in the joy it brings to me. There is nothing that is apart from this joy, because there is nothing that does not share my holiness. As I recognize my holiness, so does the holiness of the world shine forth from everyone to see. There is nothing my holiness cannot do. There is nothing my holiness cannot do. My holiness is unlimited in its power to heal, because it is unlimited in its power to save. What is there to be saved from except illusions? And what are all illusions except false ideas about myself? My holiness undoes them all by asserting the truth about me. My holiness undoes them all by asserting the truth about me. In the presence of my holiness, which I share with God Himself, all idols vanish. My holiness is my salvation. Since my holiness saves me from all guilt, recognizing my holiness is recognizing my salvation. It is also recognizing the salvation of the world. Once I have accepted my holiness, nothing can make me afraid. And because I am unafraid, everyone must share in my understanding, which is the gift of God to me and to all the world. I am blessed as a son of God. Herein lies my claim to all good and only good. I am blessed as a son of God. All good things are mine because God intended them for me. I cannot suffer any loss or deprivation or pain because of who I am. My Father supports me, protects me, and directs me in all things. His care for me is infinite and is with me forever. I am eternally blessed as his son.
Hey, brother. Heidi, you want to do a few?
I feel like it's like hot potato.
I know. You got the potato. Anna gave it up real quick. She's like, all right.
Oh, good. Mimi, you want to read one? Come on. Come on. God goes with me wherever I go. How can I be alone when God goes with me? How can I be doubtful and unsure of myself when perfect certainty abides in him? How can I be disturbed by anything when he rests in me in absolute peace? How can I suffer when love and joy surround me through him? Let me not cherish illusions about myself. I am perfect because God goes with me wherever I go. God is my strength and vision is his gift. Let me not look to my own eyes to see today. Let me be willing to exchange my pitiful illusion of seeing for the vision that is given by God. Christ's vision is his gift, and he has given it to me. Let me call upon this gift today so that this day may help me to understand eternity. God is my source. I cannot see apart from him. I can see what God wants me to see. I cannot see anything else. Beyond his will lie only illusions. It is these I choose when I think I can see apart from him. It is these I choose when I try to see through the body's eyes. Yet the vision of Christ has been given me to replace them. It is through this vision that I choose. It is through this vision that I choose to see. God is the light in which I see. I cannot see in darkness. I cannot see in darkness. God is the only light. Therefore, if I am to see, it must be through him. I have tried to define what seeing is, and I have been wrong. Now it is given me to understand that God is the light in which I see. Let me welcome vision and the happy world it will show me. God is the mind in which I think. I have no thoughts I do not share with God.
Stop.
I have no thoughts apart from him.
Stop. Breathe. You're just rabbiting on. Breathe. Connect. Let yourself feel it. This is the first time you've ever read these words. Let yourself feel. Go deeper. Push yourself.
God is the mind with which I think. I have no thoughts I do not share with God. I have no thoughts apart from him, because I have no mind apart from his.
Feel. Stop reading. These exercises, I don't know if you looked on my page, I posted a beautiful transcript of part of a talk that Adi Dar gave, or Dar John, you may know him, or simply Dar, talking about the superficial nature of the mind in denial. The superficial nature of mind in denial, the human mind, is an idea of mind in limitation. It's as far down and as far compacted a package of dense light as you can get. You've allowed and you've manipulated and you've cajoled and corrupted to become so superficial, so dead to yourselves, that anything you do is done with that sense of limitation, done with that sense of denial. And everything must be consciously chosen for, everything must be consciously pushed out and expanded back out within your own efforts and within your own heart space prayer for the miracle. Everything. You have to feel it. This is not a journey of words. These words are just reminders of something that is within you now, kicking like a little baby that keeps drawing you back week after week and day after day doing these lessons. There's something that you feel, you know it, you can sense it within yourself. You've got to push into that. Forget about the words. They're symbols of something else. Feel the something else. Feel what the words are about, what their purpose is. Feel that within you, connect with it. It's divine. And you have to push yourself. You have to instruct yourself mentally. Focus. Focus on this. Focus on what I'm doing. This is more important than what's going to happen when this Zoom meeting finishes. This is more important than anything that I could possibly pursue as an interest in the planet. Anything at all. But the mind can't grasp how important it is because it hasn't had an experience. It doesn't remember. So you have, let's say, me as a teacher, or you have a book like A Course in Miracles, or you have other teachers or whatever that have to get in your face and tell you, this is up to you now. There's Mount Everest. This is your time to climb it, and you have to get to the top. And you're standing at the bottom and you're thinking, I don't know if I can climb Mount Everest. This is no less a challenge than that. It's the same thing. But you can do it because I've done it and others have done it, and plenty of people around the planet now are doing it, using these lessons, using these disciplines, using these principles, but you've got to put yourself in it. The malaise of the world, the draw and the attraction of the world is too strong for you to break free from by yourself. You have to join with others. You have to stay together in a sort of frequency and a vibration of what this is about, to remind each other and help each other when you fall, to help each other pick each other up, and to kick each other's pants if need be. You know, stop being the victim. Stop playing the part of I can't, I don't know. Be the Christ, because you are that. Come from it, even if you don't know what that is, even if you don't remember. Live from your Christhood. I am the Christ. In this world, it's almost certain that I'm going to make mistakes about myself. Almost certain every day. I die daily. But I get up, I dust myself off, and I keep going. I'm climbing the mountain with you guys. But every day has to be a devotion, because every day you could slip from that mountain and find yourself right at the bottom again. You can die. Not in reality, there's no such thing, but in this. So you have to push. It's beautiful. Go and read the thing on my wall I put by Adi Dara. It's about a dozen posts down. Tyna will find it and post it up. There's a quote there. He's saying exactly the same thing. And I remember a talk by Sri Aurobindo, I think it was. Much the same thing. Your job is to dive to the bottom of the ocean and hold one breath. And you have to go, and the pressure pushes on you more and more and more and more. But as you go, you automatically acclimatize to that pressure, and you just keep going, you just keep going. But you have to force yourself to keep going. You have to tell yourself, I have to do this. I have to get to the bottom of the ocean because there's a pearl there worth any price. And you do it, and you do it, and you do it. But you can't do it if you're like this. You've got to check yourself, and you've got to look in the mirror and you go, man, I can give this lesson so much more devotion, so much more passion, so much more intensity than I'm engaging with it now. Because you can, right up until the point of your enlightenment. That's how much energy, that's how much potential you have in you to connect with the spirit, which is what these lessons are getting you to look at, which is what these lessons are trying to get you to fall into an alignment with. You've got this much potential left in you as a human being. It doesn't take time to use that up. You can read one of these lessons completely now and disappear from the world. That's all the action that is within you. You made this world up in your own mind, and you can unmake it just easily by the power of decision. But because we exist within a framework of an idea of I'm limited, I can't walk on the water like Jesus, I can't heal the blind and raise the dead. And we tend to have all these doubts that we're trying to uncover and release now. But because we have all these doubts and this darkness in us, that also affects even our simple reading of the lessons. You know, It's like every moment is the entire journey, not just part of it, the entire journey. It's a journey without distance. It's a journey of passion, a journey of devotion, a journey of discipline of the mind. And it takes 1 instant, but you've got to want it. How horrific would it be to be sitting here in 20 years still reading these lessons? That's intolerable. Anna doesn't want that. Push. Let's get this done. Let's get it done. Open the mind. Commit to the spirit. Try to realize what it is that your salvation is offering you as an escape from the wheel of time and space, again and again, lifetime after lifetime. That's what salvation is. It's like, let me accept it now. Let me read this lesson. Let me accept my salvation, because I don't want to be back here. I do not want to be back here. This God-forsaken place. Find your passion. Reach deep within yourself. Feel it. Feel it. My Father is calling me. My Father is calling me home. I've got this incredible book, this incredible teaching in my lap that teaches me the mysteries of the universe. My parents never had this book. Their parents never had this book. Never had these teachings, and yet they're in my lap. They're not in my lap for no reason. They've come to me at a very specific time and place in my own journey. There is something within each of us that stirs, something within each of us that is awakening. And we learn to collaborate with it. We learn to go with it. We learn to allow whatever that is to overtake our sense of self so that we become less and it becomes more. We become the living Christ within each of us. Because that's our truth. But you've got to want it. You've got to push like hell. You've got to really reach out with your feelings, really let these words affect you. Anna, read the next one, please. Malaise. Malaise is the biggest threat to learning. That sort of complacency that comes, you have to watch and be vigilant for it. That complacency that comes because there's a little voice in it that says, oh, I know what this lesson is. I've read this before. You haven't. That's the trick. That's the deception. There is only now. You've never read it before, other than memories in your own mind telling you so. Ignore those memories. This moment is what you have. This moment is your opportunity for salvation. You have to accept it. You have to take it from the hands of Jesus Christ himself right here, right now. It's being held out like this. Here, join me. Here, join me. Take one step. Try to think within yourself. When was the last time you were totally passionate about anything? When was the last time that your heart felt so full you thought it would burst from your chest with love? It doesn't take other people or situations. It's in there for no reason at all. That love, that joy, and that passion is yours. It's what you are. Try to feel it. There's a moment there where you go, fuck yeah, I am. Fuck yeah, I am that passionate thing. I am that being of love. That's me. I'm not going to let myself be half-hearted in anything anymore, and I'm not going to care what other people think when I run down the street naked going, whoop, because I feel so damn good about who I am finally, because I've remembered and am remembering that I am one with all things. Not that you're going to run down the street naked, but people do. You wait till you have a revelatory moment. You'll be just so fried in your brain, you won't know what to do. You won't know what to do with yourself. The revelation of the Father and the Son as being one is such, it's the most powerful experience you can ever have. It's what creation is. Try to get a sense of it. It is going to fry every loose circuit in your mind, which is why your mind training has to be on fleek, or whatever they say about eyebrows. You have to be really diligent and passionate about this. I kind of know that word because I work with an eyebrow technician who does tattoos eyebrow. He's got this little thing, on fleek. I don't even know what it means. What the hell? But you've got to be on. You've got to have your game face on. You've got to be like, bam. Today's the day. Bam. My salvation comes to me today, and you got to be sure of it. You got to be so sure of it that it brings you near enough to heaven that God can take that last step. I want it more than anything. I don't care what tomorrow brings. I want my salvation more than anything. I'm done with this world. Try to feel that. Try to find that. And if you can't, turn on the television. Have a look at the news. What's going on out in the world, apparently out in the world. It will push you. Don't try to get all spiritual and make yourself a nice environment with lovely spiritual friends and all of this stuff. Have all those as well. But don't forget what you've come from. Don't forget the hell of the earth that people are still believing is their reality and still believe that they must participate in. You are their hope. You are their beacon of light. You. Show them your passion. Be your passion. The Christ in you is like this active thing. Let it be active. Let it be active. By your deeds, your words, your feelings. It's all temporary, but use what you got, you know. Reach inside and feel, Heidi. Like really passion. Find that passion. Do you remember that movie that Mel Gibson made, The Passion of the Christ? And it was really graphic. You haven't seen it? That is homework. That is, oh man, that is absolutely homework. It's the crucified Christ, all right? You have to watch it and don't look away. You haven't seen it, Tina? You have to watch it. It's your homework. Heidi, watch it. It is going to break your heart wide open. Like it will snap you like a twig. When I went to the movies, and I knew I had to see it. When I went to see it, all the brothers from Wisconsin are going, you have to go and see this movie. It's like so passionate, so amazing. And I knew that the depiction of Jesus being crucified was really graphic. Don't be waving your hands at me, miss. I knew it. And when we were in the foyer waiting to go in, the other session was just coming out. People were coming out crying. There were girls coming out in tears, like sobbing. Something was activated in them in part of their relationship with Christ, where they had a whole new, beyond the limitation, understanding of the ordeal that Jesus went through to bring the message. It was a whole value. There was a whole value there, despite the fact that the images were graphic and you would want to look away and I can't watch this. There's my Savior, someone I love, someone who every day I abide with, being nailed to a cross, being flogged, being put the crown on his head and blood. Jesus. There's Jesus. Feel that. It'll take you to the place you need to go. It will take you to the place you need to go, I promise you. This world is too strong. You guys are going to walk out of this meeting and then put the kettle on, have a cup of tea, whatever, and then phew, I know it because it happens in me. I have to be constantly walking and constantly activating myself and constantly reminding myself, just a dream, don't react to the figures, let it all go. There's this whole mental thing that goes on in my mind. It's like all of a sudden something wants to come in and boop, the mind training takes it out again and restores peace. But it takes to get to the bottom. It takes to get to that place where I want this more than I want the world. You watch that movie, it'll just totally, any resistance you've got, it'll be gone. Go on, Anna, read one.
God is the mind with which I think. I have no thoughts I do not share with God. I have no thoughts apart from him because I have no mind apart from his.
Yes.
As part of his mind, my thoughts are his and his thoughts are mine. God is the love in which I forgive.
Breathe.
God is the love in which I forgive. God does not forgive because he has never condemned. The blameless cannot blame, and those who have accepted their innocence see nothing to forgive. Yet forgiveness is the means by which I will recognize my innocence.
Yes.
It is the reflection of God's love on earth. It will bring me near enough to heaven that the love of God can reach down to me and raise me up to him.
You felt that, didn't you? You totally felt it.
Yeah.
Right. You've had a shift. That's very nice. Beautiful, in fact. I can tell you've had a shift. Your whole signature, your whole vibration is different.
Yeah.
Good. It's lovely. Resist the temptation to fall back into old patterns now, Anna. Things are still going to show up for you. It'll take a little while for the shift to kick in so that your externals, because everything's dependent on time.
Yeah.
Don't be concerned by the externals. Don't defend yourself. Okay? No matter what happens, don't defend yourself. You have nothing to say. And I know there's going to be a little bit of residue of pre-shift karma, if you want to call it that, which will still be in your life for a moment. It won't take long to clear that up. Jesus will sort that out real quick. Beautiful. Tina, read the next one. Ready? And you're going to read it like you're standing in a queue with your ticket to go and see that Mel Gibson.
Oh.
I got my ticket. I'm terrified. I've got my ticket. But
All right, but okay.
I don't even know if it would still be showing at a theater, but I guarantee if it was still showing at a theater somewhere, it would be so cool to go in there and have that crowd response, because it is overwhelming.
I heard about it and I was like, I'm not going to see that. When people told me about it, they told me.
Right.
Yeah.
It was shattering. It was totally shattering.
They told me, they said, Tina, you can't go see it because you're going to faint. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to go see it.
You probably will. I cried. I cried and cried and cried in there. I sat in the dark with all those people and cried my guts out. But I tell you what, it took me to the place I needed to go at the time. And that was the beautiful part of it. Like Christ's message, even in that visual, you know, there are people like crucifixion still happens in some countries. Did you know that? Like in Iran and stuff. In what are they called? Not the ISIS. What are those groups that have that extreme religious? What are they?
It started out really beautiful. No, not the Sikhs. It started out really beautiful. Not the Sikhs. You're not talking about the Sikhs, are you?
Oh, it all starts out really beautiful and then gets corrupted. But
yeah,
in like the Middle East, where Bush started the war, you know, and
yeah,
Muslim Brotherhood or whatever they're called, they still crucify people. They cut off heads, they cut off hands, they do all that shit. And you know what? People gather around like this to watch. People stand around like this to watch without any emotional response at all to what's going on. Just everyday life. I have no clue how, you know, it's like Jesus says, let him without sin cast the first stone. But when you watch that movie and you realize that Jesus and the two robbers, you know, they're crucified up there together on that day. There was 3 of them being crucified. But crucifixion was just an everyday punishment. If you were, you know.
You steal something.
They're not robbers?
No. I'm saying robbers are crucified. You steal something and you get nailed to a cross. You know what I mean? Like you would think they would.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you
like maybe cut
crucified.
my hand off. And that's a lot too. But no, I'm gonna die.
They do that too. In Africa. So this is a punishment in Africa. In remember the Hottentots and the Tutsis, or the Tutsis and the Hottentots, or whatever, the 2 tribes that in the 90s they were like just massacring each other for some reason.
Yeah.
They have one of those tribes have a punishment if you're caught stealing. They take you to the town square and cut off 1 foot with a machete, like at the ankle. Just cut it off. And that's it. And everybody knows, because you have to use crutches for the rest of your life. Everyone knows you're a thief. It's like, there are extreme and barbaric, you know, I would call them unloving. I mean, everything is an act of love if you see it from a healed perspective. But it's like, man, really? You know, haven't we raised up enough from that kind of thing? Like the effort that we're putting in doing these, even reading these lessons. If you guys could completely appreciate how much that raises up for the whole. I mean, around the world, things that like the shift that you have had, Anna, that shift is happening around the world. as we speak, because it started in you. There's 144,000 souls in you that are all experiencing that shift, and they're all going to pass it on exponentially. Every shift that anyone has anywhere, anytime consciousness opens to a greater degree of being able to include in a lesser density of association, of form association, everybody gets that. The greatest gift you can give to your world is your own awakening, you know. It's like, it's truly, truly beautiful. And that raising up the vibration of peace and love, it's a true thing. It never happened, or it never really took place or transpired as anyone thought, because everybody thought perhaps that the hippies in the 60s and 70s would change the way of things, you know, like that, the Summer of Love in 1965 or 4 or whatever it was, and how that was going to be the new mentality of mankind. And then, of course, the war started in Vietnam, and that was that. But that movement, you know, that movement is a movement in consciousness, in mind, on a global level, on a universal level. It's like what's occurring in us is occurring in all the world. And that's something that you really have to take the time to sit back and try and appreciate it. Try and just like look at it and go, holy cow, man, this, I don't know how, but this little miraculous, tiny little shift I've had in my consciousness, which takes Anna from being one person one day to a slightly less dense version of herself the next day in her own conscious association, is something that in your very being, you automatically extend. You know, everything feels it. It's like, it's just fucking incredible. Keep going, push, feel. It's hard to get people to understand that, like, even though Jesus says this is a journey into fear, it is a journey into fear. It's a damn journey into fear. You got to look at those fears, and you got to look at all that resistance and all of that. Whoa, you know, I'm not going to see that movie. I'll be expecting a full review, Tina.
I'm gonna watch it tonight.
All right, you watch it tonight. You know those this is funny, you know those YouTube videos where they'll have people responding to listening to music for the first time? Yeah. I don't know why I did that thing.
Because you're weird.
I know. There's these two guys, right? They're like, I don't know what you call them in America, but I would call them like gangbanger guys or whatever. They wear the hoodie stuff.
I know what you're talking about. They're kids. They're so cute. I think I know who you're talking about.
They're so awesome, right? And they're like this, and they'll be playing a song, and they've never heard it before, apparently, never heard it before, and they'll be like, and then all of a sudden, like the drop will happen, and they'll be like, woo!
When the Phil Collins song, when they you see what he
yeah,
when
right.
he hit the drums, they were like,
right.
What?
Right.
Yeah.
Totally in the moment. Those guys totally in the moment. They're just like,
they're so cute. They're not bangers.
Well, I don't know what you call them, but
black kids.
like if we could do that with you watching the Passion of the Christ, we'll set up a camera and we'll have Tina reacting to the Christ, you know. Like,
Jesus.
That would be cool.
You want me to wait?
Really cool. Let's put it on now.
Sure, it's on Netflix.
So I know, right? So here's an interesting little thing too. So last night, I was, as an idea of last night, I was just scrolling through my Facebook, right? Sometimes I like to just see what all you other guys are doing and what's going on. Oh, what's that? Something's popped up there. From Dear One's Room to Everyone. Is that the Artie Dar thing? Okay, cool. So, and I was thinking, rather than, because sometimes like, so you guys will know this exactly from your friends and from people around you, right? So sometimes you'll be having a conversation with somebody and you'll know where they're at because there'll be a lesson that's being explained or being taught through their words, even if they're talking about going fishing or whatever, or something happened and they're telling you something, right? And you'll be like, oh man, this is totally relatable to a lesson in healing or something like that. And you'll be tempted to want to just try and help that along a bit and push it along, go, hey man, try looking at it from this point of view, whatever, and see if it's helpful, right? So sometimes I like to do that. It's like I'll see guys on Facebook, and it's like they're almost there at a certain point where there's like a shift is going to happen, right? And you can see it because you've already been through that same shift yourself. You've already been through a certain amount of healing, and you can see it playing out. But it takes so long, you know, it takes so long to write out each little thing, because sometimes you've got to prepare a whole background of stuff before you can get to the point. So last night, I had this little, I think it's a genius brainwave, but I had this little brainwave where I just picked about 20 posts at random, and I wrote the word whatever just in the comments, right? I wrote the word whatever. Now, the only response to that is going to be you either get triggered by it or you can either laugh about it, right? And I knew that in saying the whatever, right, they're either going to want to know why I said whatever to a post that they were taking seriously or whatever was happening going on, or they're going to block me or something like that, which I don't really care, you know, like, what do I care? And so I just went through and I wrote whatever, all these posts. And then I went to bed. And then I woke up this morning and there's all these people. Some people are laughing, right? Some people are laughing because there's all these. There was one, right? And I got to be honest, I didn't read the whole post, right? So there was one, I just read like 2 or 3 lines on whatever. It was a genuine whatever. And it was actually about somebody's son who was sick and like going through this whole thing. And I just wrote whatever, sent it away. And but it opened up a whole can of worms. So the person put one of those like face emojis, you know, like on there, and I explained that I was just doing a random thing to try and expose myself to whatever response might come, right? To whatever. If they wanted to yell at me and tell me I was being callous and uncaring, I didn't care, because I was looking for a trigger in my own mind somewhere, right? I was looking for something. I was deliberately putting myself out of my comfort zone into the firing line and letting come back whatever comes back. You know, some angry guy with a baseball bat, or somebody who thinks that's the best thing they've ever heard or whatever, right? Everything being for an action of forgiveness. So I did it, and it took a moment to actually, I kind of had to force myself to do it, right? And so I did it. And then this morning, all these things have come back. Overwhelmingly, the reflections I've gotten back have been positive or helpful or joyous or whatever. Surprisingly, right? Surprisingly, I've had to explain to a few people the social experiment that I was doing, right? I think there was only one person who took it the wrong way or didn't get the vibe. And when I checked their other posts and things, they weren't particularly on a very stable level with a spiritual thing anyway, so probably wasting my time there. But overwhelmingly, it was a really cool response, right? Which I was actually quite surprised, because I thought this could go any way at all. I could just go pear-shaped, or, you know, you just diss on people's things. And one guy even said to me, that seems a pretty egotistical response to my post or something like that. And I said, that's awesome, brother. Awesome that you saw ego in that, you know, and I can own that now, right? That's my own ego. What he's putting out and what I'm thinking, it's me, right? It's my thing. It was exposed, and I sat there in a moment accepting atonement for myself and joined with him. And then I explained to him what I was doing, and we had this kind of moment. It was nice. So, but luckily he was far enough along in his own transformation that he didn't take it too seriously or to heart or whatever. So, but it was just like getting outside of that comfort zone, right? It was getting outside the box. And sometimes you have to make bold experiments with your spirituality. You got to just like ruffle the waters. You know, what's that called? You got to tip over the apples out of the cart and do all of that. Destroyer of worlds. You just have to do it sometimes. Perhaps.
Shiva.
Shiva. Right, exactly. Where's my little teapot and my trident?
Twist
Is
your
it a teapot?
Shiva.
That thing?
What?
Isn't it? Is it a teapot? I always think it's a teapot that Shiva has in there.
I don't
There's
know.
a
I just
trident.
think I don't know.
There's that thing, and then there's like looks like a teapot. Might be a cow horn or something. I don't know.
I just always think of him in that the circle with all those arms.
I know. I had a statue, but somebody took it. So. People like things that I have, and they just take them. I don't know what the deal is with that. But, oh, I like that. Can I have it? Yeah, sure. So, all right, Heidi, I'd like you to read lesson 50, like the whole lesson, not the review. Read it with all the passion you can muster. Depends on it.
I am sustained by the love of God. Here is the answer to every problem that will confront you today and tomorrow and throughout time. In this world, you believe you are sustained by everything but God. Your faith is placed in the most trivial and insane symbols, pills, money, protective clothing, influence, prestige, being liked, knowing the right people, and an endless list of forms of nothingness that you endow with magical powers. All these things are your replacements for the love of God. All these things are cherished to ensure a body identification. They are songs of praise to the ego. Do not put your faith in the worthless. It will not sustain you. Only the love of God will protect you in all circumstances. It will lift you out of every trial and raise you high above all the perceived dangers of this world into a climate of perfect peace and safety. It will transport you into a state of mind that nothing can threaten, nothing can disturb, and where nothing can intrude upon the eternal calm of the Son of God. Put not your faith in illusions. They will fail you. Put all your faith in the love of God within you, eternal, changeless, and forever unfailing. This is the answer to whatever confronts you today. Through the love of God within you, you can resolve all seeming difficulties without effort and ensure confidence. Tell yourself this often today. It is a declaration of release from the belief in idols. It is your acknowledgement of the truth about yourself. For 10 minutes twice today, morning and evening, let the idea for today sink deep into your consciousness.
Deep.
Repeat it. Think about it. Let related thoughts come to help you recognize its truth. And allow peace to flow over you like a blanket of protection and surety. Let no idle and foolish thoughts enter to disturb the holy mind of the Son of God. Such is the kingdom of heaven. Such is the resting place where your Father has placed you forever.
Deep. Try to feel it deeply into your core. This whole section, this whole passage of transformation that you guys are in now is about feeling. It's about getting in touch with your heart, and it's about disciplining your mind so that the two can work together for common good. Heart and mind as one. There's no point having all the mind training in the universe if you forget about your heart at the expense of it. Your passion and the power of your decision have to come together. They have to. I choose for love, and I choose it passionately. I don't choose it because I've read the words in a book. It's not just academic. I have to truly choose for it. I've got to feel in my heart how much I want to choose for love in every circumstance. Heart and mind together. You've got wings in your back, Heidi. You've got wings waiting to sprout out there, waiting to poke out through your shoulder blades and like erupt out from the sides of you. I can see it in you. It's like there's this great gift, this great presence of self waiting to just burst out onto the stage of your experience here, burst out onto the, onto the scene. Heidi's in the house. In Jesus' house. You got to let go of the old Heidi for that to happen. And you'll feel that. You'll feel how to do that. You're already feeling it now. You can feel it. Don't adjust to it. Let it happen. Don't adjust. Don't try to cover it up and change anything. You have to go through the shedding of the old, which is going to be emotionally distressing perhaps, but you're learning not to react to your emotions. You're learning not to validate them and give them anything, but rather just to see them as energy moving through you. I don't have to give this a meaning. I can just feel it and experience it and let it happen. I can be still and let all this stuff occur by the grace of God. But you got to flip that catch. You got to open that lid. You got to just let that box go boing, and all that shit will come out. You ready, Anna? I want you to feel. Connect with where you're at now. Close your eyes and take a breath. Connect with where you're at now and feel how good it feels. Feel everything that's good in there that you're grateful for right now. It's like, damn, my hard work's paying off. My lessons are paying off. All of this effort I'm putting in, it's starting to have an effect. Try to feel how good that is. Try to feel the weight lift off your shoulders. It's like, oh man, this little shift, and then the next little shift, and the next thing will happen. You're walking with Jesus now. You are really and truly, like literally walking with Jesus. You're going over those holy lands. You're walking up and down the hills, and he's saying stuff to you. And at first you have no clue what he's saying, and now you're starting to get it. Now you're starting to hear what he's saying. You feel like finally you're part of the crew, part of those disciples, part of the gang. It's like, damn, that feels good. You're accepting your salvation. Let it feel as good as you can. Feel how good it is, how warm it is in your heart to be included right there. That's it. How good does that feel? Heidi, do the same. Do exactly the same. Feel it, how good it is. I'm a worker in the vineyard. I'm picking the grapes. I'm doing the harvest. I'm learning what my job is. I'm learning my role to play in this thing called salvation, and I'm actually beginning to play it. I'm actually beginning to put it into practice, and it's bearing fruit. And it feels good. You got to stop and take the time to feel the rewards of your efforts. The world will still be there later, and you can go back out and it'll poke at you and push at you from every side and give you another situation to rack your brains about. But the rewards of your efforts will be there, identified by you and felt by you, and you can fall back on them with perfect certainty. You can trust them. It's like, all right, I got this. I did this before. I've pushed my limits here in this situation, and I've had a shift. And now the next situation, and the next situation, and the next situation. All these holy moments, holy instants, holy encounters. It's beautiful. Sometimes people will have a shift and they won't even realize it's occurred. You know, sometimes people have a shift in consciousness and they're like, I feel different today. They don't even know why. But it's like when you know why, when you realize that it's because you're involved in this universal thing called salvation, and that suddenly Jesus has put his hands on you as he passed by. It's like, damn, feels good. That's why people go to India and they follow a guru over there and they all walk along behind doing this, and they just hope that the guru will touch them or say something to them. And when they do, it like their heart fills with joy and love. It's because they're so calling out within themselves to be included in something that's bigger than their own ability to comprehend. They don't even understand really at any kind of grassroots level sometimes what it is they're involved in, and the potential and the magnitude for how beautiful that can expand out to become. They just know they've got to go. They've got to be with this teacher or go and find that guru or read this book. They're just drawn to it like a moth to a candle. They just have to do it. And the candle's going to burn their wings again and again and again. And they're going to die eventually there to be reborn as something more beautiful. Not the greatest analogy, but anyway. We're dying to our own ego. We're dying to a false idea of ourselves. And it's like, that's a process that takes everything you got. It's like, and every little footstep, every little shift, every little gain in that beautiful, beautiful death is something that should be cherished. It's like, wow, let me take the time to stop and just appreciate what I've been going through here. You know, this is really hell. But the fact that I can see that I'm having a shift in my mind, the fact that I can see something has actually changed. Anna, something has actually changed in you. Can you feel that? Do you really, really, to the core of your being, recognize it? Sit in it and enjoy it. Sit in it and feel how warm and beautiful and wonderful that actually is. Don't worry about being busy in the world and doing other things. This is you time. This is time for you to go, damn. It's warm and it's loving and it's tender. It's really very beautiful. When you were reading that lesson, there was a different person reading that lesson. Your vibration was higher. Now, on to the next. Don't sit in the glow for too long. Still got work to do. That's it. Back to work, everybody. Back to work. But truly, let yourself feel it, okay? And remember, don't defend yourself. No matter who says what, don't defend yourself. Honor the shift. Honor it. Let them throw rocks at you. Who the hell cares? You got a question there, Tina? You got something? Is there some how? Oh, that's what it is. That person you asked me to add to the group, I tried to add them and it won't add. They won't add to the group or something. And then when I tried to click on their profile, it won't let me. So maybe they've blocked me.
I think you blocked
I
them.
don't know. I did?
Yeah, like a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah. I went through a stage of that. I had a whole thing where I'm just going to block all these people. It's like,
yeah,
you get to a point where you get tired of giving people fish that don't want to learn fish for themselves.
mm-hmm.
Remember, I went through a whole period of like, I can't do this anymore. You're out, because it takes up all my time, you know. And it's like,
Well, she's bad. I don't know how you feel. She wants the fish.
Does she want to learn
Wait
to
a minute.
fish though? I mean, you.
No, wait. Yeah,
you
sorry.
Good.
Yeah, she
Hang
does.
on, let me just do it now. Let me do it now while we're on here.
Beautiful. Because now that it's being recorded, I'm happy that it's going to be recorded like this.
Okay. What was her name?
Her name on the recording?
Yeah, I don't care.
Bernadett.
We're
Yeah, okay, Bernadett. I'm sure she doesn't care either. That's my stuff.
You wouldn't care either. It's like there's things I remember Greta, you know, like one of my very first teachers with the course, and she said to me, "You're either in this totally or don't show up," because I would just go to the healing center on the weekends and everyone else had every session. And I was treating it like a doormat, you know. It's like everybody goes through that stage. But right, everyone goes through that. Like Bernadett would be exactly the same. And she maybe even recognize that within herself. Now I don't.
She watches every video. She does the 50 lessons with us. She's
Does
like
she?
totally.
God bless you,
Oh
Bernadett.
God, yeah. Huh? Rooting for you, girl. Rooting for you.
What's her second name?
TOTH, I believe.
Oh.
Something like that. That's how it feels in my mind.
Is her icon wearing a straw hat and a black?
No.
Oh.
It's or at least let me see. Maybe it's changed, but was this her with her glasses on?
I've got 3 Bernadett Toths.
Let me see.
You can send me a screenshot of it.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'll do that.
Maybe I have to go into my blocked list, which will be
You
quite
do, I
prolific.
would imagine. She's not showing up. I
I
kept
don't even
looking
know
at
how
you.
to.
You
I
added
don't know
her.
how to do that.
Oh, you don't know how to unblock people.
Don't worry, Bernadette. We're coming. Don't worry, we're
I
coming.
told you, girl. I told you, girl. Oh, I'm very happy.
I don't know how to. Oh, settings and privacy. Hang on. Settings.
Bernadette, it's happening live, girl. It's happening live.
Happening like blocking. Here we go. Blocking. Let's see. Add to blocked list. I should just put everybody on this list.
And make them come back.
Oh, now how do I find her? Oh, there's some good ones on here. Public health fact checkers. I'll block all those things. There's like dozens of those. Gestic fact checkers. 90% of these things on here that I've got blocked are fact checking bots.
You're so funny. I told Wolf, I was like, Wolf, I reached out to him because he was, writing in the chat. And I was like, brother, I know that you don't know. But brother will block you in a minute. I remember when you just block people because they had their name started with the letter K.
Right.
You were so joyful.
Well, it's just all a game. It's like, oh, there she is. Yay. Unblock.
Yay.
All right, she's officially unblocked.
Oh.
All right, let's see. All right, she's there, unblocked. I'm just going to log out and log back in.
She only asked for a little bit and she got the whole lot.
That's a thing? What's that?
What? No, I said she asked for a little bit and she got the whole lot.
I don't know what that means.
She only wanted to be able to be added to the chat, and I know really she wanted to be unblocked. So now she's unblocked. She got more than what she asked for.
It's my joy to unblock her and to block her. Let's go. Satsang. Angelina Ayala Lev left the group. I don't even know who that is.
I think she just joined it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, I don't know, like the last.
See member requests. Okay, so I've approved that she's in the group. There we go. Woo-hoo. Job done.
Well done.
Yeah. That's the good thing about this Zoom meeting. I mean, there's only like 4 of us on here today, but it's like you guys that are on here are the ones that want to be on here. 2 in 10,000 shall hear this. It's like those are not good odds, but they're good odds. You know what I mean? They're like, it really sorts out the wheat from the chaff. We started with like 40 or 50 people in this group, and everybody in any other group kind of just imagines their groups are going to grow. And my hope is that the group shrinks to, I'll just be here myself one day and you guys won't need anything. You'll be done. It's like, I'm sick of him and his dumbass teachings.
Blocked.
Blocked. That's it. Block that ass. But not blocked with a grievance, blocked with a purpose. There's a difference. So. All right, Anna, read the next one. Let's have it. Lesson 49. Do the whole lesson. I should start calling you New Anna now. Oh,
Here's New Anna.
That's pretty.
New Anna. That flows.
Nice.
That's like New Anna. It's like a very mystical.
Very nice.
It is.
So are we reading just the reviews or the actual lesson?
That was my name instead of Dave. Hey, read it. Yep, 49. The whole thing, start to finish.
My nephew's name is Davion.
Davion.
Because my brother's name is Dave. They named all their kids after them.
Oh. I've never really liked Dave as a name or David. It's sort of like, it's like that. It's not like, that's how it comes to me anyway.
Davion.
I think I have acceptance there. It's not like Joshua or something that has a nice sort of presence about it. It's like Dave. It's like when you call a dog Rex, you know.
But you have to do your eyebrows.
I call my dog Rex.
Dave.
Rex is really a shitty name. Like, it's a dog name, but it's like it's a dumbass name. Who the hell calls their dog Rex?
That's an Australian thing.
Like, why not call your dog something like
Lucky.
beautiful? Yeah, Lucky or something cool.
That was my dog.
Anyway.
Our dog is Raisin.
Oh,
Raisin. See, that's a lovely name, Raisin.
Raising Cane.
I remember watching the stand-up comedy of I can't remember the guy's name. He's got the big teeth. African guy, very popular.
Big teeth. Dave Chappelle.
It's like, no, not. Oh, it might be Dave Chappelle.
Big teeth. I can
He
do it
he used to do like Dynamite. That guy, Dynamite.
I think you're talking about Chris Rock. You talking about Chris Rock?
Chris Rock. That's it.
Yeah.
Chris Rock.
He
Chris
didn't
Rock-
do Dynamite.
Chris Rock
that was JJ Walker.
Right, JJ. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Good times.
Chris Rock had this thing. Just a little aside. We're not doing much spiritual stuff today. We're just having little asides.
Are we gonna finish your
So-
lessons at some point? I'm just asking for a friend.
We already did that, didn't we? Do that already?
But you still got
In the
about.
last.
Are we done? No, we're not gonna finish them.
I don't know. You're in charge. You're in charge of all that.
I want to finish. I would like them to be finished.
Yeah. Now I forgot what I was going to say. All right, not important. Lesson 49, Anna.
Okay.
Bust me open to a blooming new galaxy. You ready? Have faith.
God's voice speaks to me all through the day. It is quite possible to listen to God's voice all through the day without interrupting your regular activities in any way. The part of your mind in which truth abides is in constant communication with God, whether you are aware of it or not. It is the other part of your mind that functions in the world and obeys the world's laws. It is this part that is constantly distracted, disorganized, and highly uncertain. The part that is listening to the voice for God is calm, always at rest, and wholly certain. It is really the only part there is. The other part is a wild illusion, frantic and distraught, but without reality of any kind. Try today not to listen to it. Try to identify with the part of your mind where stillness and peace reign forever. Try to hear God's voice call. Try to hear God's voice call to you lovingly, reminding you that your Creator has not forgotten His Son.
Mm. Keep going.
We will need at least 4 5-minute practice periods today and more if possible. We will try actually to hear God's voice reminding you of Him and of yourself. We will approach this happiest and holiest of thoughts with confidence, knowing that in doing so, we are joining our will with the will of God. He wants you to hear His voice. He gave it to you to be heard. Listen in deep silence. Be very still and open your mind.
Yoo-hoo!
Go past all the raucous shrieks and sick imaginings that cover your real thoughts and obscure your eternal link with God. Sink deep into the peace that waits for you beyond the frantic, righteous thoughts and sights and sounds of this insane world. You do not live here. We are trying to reach your real home. We are trying to reach the place where you are truly welcome. We are trying to reach God. Do not forget to repeat today's idea very frequently. Do so with your eyes open when necessary, but closed when possible. And be sure to sit quietly and repeat the idea for today whenever you can, closing your eyes on the world and realizing you are inviting God's voice to speak to you.
Beautiful. Spirit hears the spirit. The spirit in me hears the spirit in you when you're reading that. And it reacts with joy and it reacts with happiness. And it just makes me want to, like, whew. So what'll happen is this: after a shift, your ego is always going to try and recover, right? Don't be worried about it. That shift will probably get corrupted to some extent, all right? But don't worry about that. Just keep going.
Just keep going.
Just keep going. It won't ever get corrupted to the point where its usefulness to you is not useful. Okay? It'll just get corrupted to the point where now and again you'll lose sight of the awareness of where it is you're at now. Right? Seen rightly, that's kind of helpful anyway, because it helps you to remember better. But so many shifts I've been through, and there's a part of me in my mind, you know, like 3 months down the track, and it'll be, oh man, I wish I could just get back to where I was at when I had that shift, because it feels good. You know, it's like, man, I remember having that shift, and like I had a week of just feeling like fucking awesome, and all the weight had lifted off my shoulders and everything was great. I wish I could get back there. And it's like, it is entirely possible to stay in that full state of mind forever, right? That being and that joy of experiencing one of those shifts. But in this world, it's like a staircase. You still got to go up the next step, the next step, the next step. But every time you go, you'll have it's like sometimes you get 2 steps forward and 1 step back sort of thing. All right.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Just keep going. The shift you've just had, I hear it when you read. I hear it. It's like it's the most beautiful sound. It's like an angel singing or something, like violins and playing. Like there's a harmonic to it that's just so divine and perfect and beautiful. But that shift you've just had, it's more prolific than you're aware of. It's more comprehensive than you're aware of. You're only aware of the iceberg's tip. It's bigger than you can grasp right now, but you'll pick up on it in the next 3 or 4 days, I think. You'll start to really, really see what has occurred in your own mind. Right? Just don't defend yourself. I love that. I really love that. It's like, Ready, Heidi? Let's do an experiment here. I want to push something in you too, because there's this thing. There's something in my mind in our relationship that's telling me that, not that there's a joining, we're already joined, but there's telling me that there's a, like somewhere you're at that you want to get past, something going on. I don't know what it is. I think Tina knows what it is. I don't know. Ready? I love you, Heidi. I love you. The depth to which I love you, I cannot ever express. It's impossible. You can only feel it. You can only feel it, and you can only open to it more and more and more. I know I push you guys, and I know I probably overstep my parameters as a teacher of God sometimes. And it's like, what's that saying? I took you to the edge of the cliff, and it's by some French guy, Alain Prost or something other, and you were afraid to jump, so I pushed you and you flew. You know, there's that beautiful saying, I pushed you at the cliff and you flew. You were terrified, you know, but I know I do that a bit with you guys. Ted used to do it all the time. He would see potential in somebody, and he would, man, it was nothing for him to like devote a whole session, like a whole 4-hour session, to one person in the room. If he thought that person was so close to a shift, he would just give them everything. And sometimes it would look like a dressing down. Sometimes it would look like really like, if you knew what was being offered, you would stop that particular mental, you know, mental habit, that kind of thing. And in the Course, Jesus says, you know, the Holy Spirit's not teaching you to judge for the errors of others. But when you've had an experience, when you're awake, it's not that you're seeing the error. You're seeing the potential. You're seeing the door. Sometimes, you know, you can look over here and you can look over there, but the door's right in front of you. And sometimes you can see in another person, man, there's a door right in front of you right now, and you're almost just about to walk through it. And then the world distracts you, and you're like, oh, look at that over there. And you're like, you know, like the Muppets, and they do these ones off the screen. You know, when we do these Zoom meetings, right? I don't hear with my ears. These things don't hear anything. I can't even see that. But I feel when you read those lessons, I feel you read them. It's not the words I'm listening to. It's your heart. It's your resonance. It's your pitch. It's your frequency. It's your vibration. I feel it in me because we are connected. We are one. You're reading to the Christ in you. And the Christ in me hears it when the Christ in you hears it. Because we are connected. At that Christ level. The Christ level, Heidi, in you is so close. Like it's in you, I see it as like you guys keep coming back here again and again and again. It's impossible that if you hang around the barbershop that eventually you won't get a haircut. Impossible. All right? Look at Anna. She's just had a haircut, like metaphysically. She's had a metaphysical haircut and she looks great. We have this show here. I don't know if it still runs. We have this show called Stefan. Do you have Stefan in America? It's a chain of hairdressers. It's a chain of hairdressing studios, right? And they're all across Australia. And Stefan used to finance his own half-hour hairdressing television show on primetime television. And he would have like 3 or 4 people that would come in and their hair would be a bit like mine. and he would have his hairdressers. And Stefan was this flamboyant kind of, I don't think he was gay, but he was like totally like, darling, we're going to, and he'd get totally passionate for what they were doing. And he would take these old ladies that would come in with their blue rinse, and he'd like neaten them up, and he'd be like, he had an accent like Italian or Maltese or something. And he'd be like, today we are going to do the hair, and we're going to make this, and we're going to do that. And he would like punts around the stage, and all these people would sit there like, they'd be pulling faces like, oh. And then Stefan would come along with his scissors, and he'd be like, this was a show he had in Australia, And they would go through this whole makeup, and he was really good, actually. His haircuts were fucking awesome. Like, people would come on with hair like mine, and they'd walk out looking like Rock Hudson or somebody like out of a movie set, He was a really good hairdresser, a really good barber, whatever. But he knew, right? People would come on. They would just come on at random. He didn't select them because of their bad hair. He knew what style would suit them and what was the best cut and exactly where to cut and snip. And he would explain why he was cutting here, why he was snipping there. And he would have his apprentices on the stage with him and these hairdressers that were learning the trade. And he knew exactly what he was doing, right? He could look at that person's energy, their whole thing, and that's how he saw it, as an energetic, symbolic representation of the person. And he would cut their hair, and it would be always really good. I mean, his reputation depended on it, and he was putting himself on television in the public eye, and his hairdressing salons just shot to popularity like just crazy. It became massive here. Every mall, every shopping mall had a Stefan in it, everywhere. And it's the same in this, right? It's like, this is our barbershop. I know exactly, in my own mind, I know exactly who you are as the Christ. I know exactly where the door is when you're looking like this, and it's there. And when I tell you I love you, I know exactly what you're going to do with that. Right? But I'm always going to tell you I love you. And you're going to keep doing that with that, what you do with it all the time until you do something else with it. Heidi, I love you. I love you. Now you got to let that in. Just let it in. In the moment you let it in truly, like truly let it in, something else will occur. Because I'm not saying I love you as I love you, the Heidi image, the bodily association. I love you as the Christ because I know you as the Christ. I know what that is. I see you as that. There's my brother. All of this other outer garments and everything else, and all of these other stories and all of this potential in you is nothing. It's nothing. It falls away just at the snap of the fingers. One decision. I want to know what that is. I want to know what love is. I want you to show me. Tina's on the drums. Don't be afraid of it, Heidi. Don't be afraid of love. It's going to make you feel like shit. Right? It's going to make you feel really bad. Trust me on this, it will. It's going to take you to an emotional place that you don't want to go to. It did with me. It did with Anna. I love you. I totally love you. There is nothing I would not do for you. I would lay down my life for you. For no reason whatsoever. You only have to ask. That's my love. I'd probably be a little scared that you might ask, actually, but anyway. My love has no limit. That's what I'm trying to say. No limit. It's unconditional. I might block you, but if I block you, it's only for your own good. I won't block you. I won't. Tina might. She's a bitch. All right, Tina, read lesson 48, please. Sit in it, Heidi. Sit in it and just let yourself try to feel that. Let it go deep as it can. Not Tina being a bitch, me that I love you. That's it. One total act of love. That's all it takes. One total act of selfless love. It's got to be total. Did you get your Tim Tams yet, Tina?
No.
No, it's been a week. It's been a week. She said it'll take about 2 weeks. So
yeah, I'm looking out for them though.
Put them in the fridge straight away because they'll probably be all gooey together now. They're all chocolate. But
I'm gonna share some with Bibiana.
okay. Yeah. Does she live near you?
No, I'm gonna get on a bus.
Okay.
Maybe. All right. Is it on the recording?
All right, let's have it.
Here we go.
48.
There is nothing to fear. The idea for today simply states a fact. It is not a fact to those who believe in illusions, but illusions are not facts. In truth, there is nothing to fear. It is very easy to recognize this, but it is very difficult to recognize it for those who want illusions to be true. Today's practice periods will be very short, very simple, and very frequent. Merely repeat the idea in its original form as often as possible. You can use it with your eyes open at any time and in any situation. It is strongly recommended, however, that you take a minute or so, whenever possible, to close your eyes and repeat the idea slowly to yourself several times. It is particularly important that you use the idea immediately should anything disturb your peace of mind. The presence of fear is a sure sign that you are trusting in your own strength. The awareness that there is nothing to fear shows that somewhere in your mind, not necessarily in a place which you recognize as yet,
Right.
you have remembered God and let His strength take the place of yours. The instant you are willing to do this, there is indeed nothing to fear.
Yes. Not necessarily in a place you recognize as yet. but it's there. It's already done. This is a coming to. This is an awakening. One step at a time, one shift at a time, one lesson at a time, one devoted moment of choice at a time. Every day, every moment, another opportunity to choose again. I choose for God. I choose for God. I choose for love in this situation. There are directives in you guys, right? So listen to this. Heidi, listen to this. There are things in you, in each of you, that you know you have to do. All right? There are decisions that you know you have to make. It's only going to be painful on this side of the decision. It's only going to be confronting on this side of the decision. Once you make the decision, you're released from all obligation to not having made it. Everything just pans out after that. The energy can flow again. Right? There are decisions. There are things you've been thinking about and things you need to make decisions about that you've been putting off or been too afraid to make those decisions about, and you got to do that. In the form, in the thinking, in the whatever it is, however it shows up. If you don't make those decisions, and you make them with Christ, but if you don't make those decisions, you kind of like just orbit around in this little holding pattern, waiting for the decision-making moment to come around again where you realize, no, I've got to do this. And there's a certain point in your own mind where you know you've got to do it. Right? You wrote the script. You wrote the story. Everything that occurs because you want it to, and everything comes to its final fulfillment and its own beginning and ending in time and space. And often the most painful part is letting it end. Letting one old habit, one old process use itself up as the potential that it had to bring you into this new moment, and then let it go gratefully, right? Let it go with gratitude so you can enter into a new moment that in your own awareness of it is yet unwritten. Right? We're always walking together into a brand new moment, but we can't do it whilst we drag the past, whilst we drag unhelpful thought processes along behind us. Got to let it all go. Got to let it all go. Make a choice, make a decision. All power, Heidi, all power within you exists solely for you to make one single all-encompassing decision. I don't know if you can hear that. I don't know how anyone actually hears that. But that's what the power of decision is for in you, to choose for God, which is everything. And it seems as if we kind of practice making these decisions in our relationships and in our friendships and in our work relationships and in our every other kind of relationship. And it seems like as if it's practice. But the necessity for practice is only an idea of, I'm not quite willing to do that yet. Can you hear that? Not quite ready yet, Lord. I still have some reservations. Maybe there's still something in the world I want. Right? Maybe you still want to be justified here. Maybe there's still some secret little agenda that you yourself aren't even aware that you're running in the background programming of your own thinking. Which is why we have to be honest in our meditations. We have to be honest in those places we find ourselves, because like Tyna just read in that lesson, there is a place in you that perhaps you're unaware of as yet. Right? If you're unaware of it, how are you ever going to come across it? Right? Let me come across it simply by being willing for it to be exposed in me through the release of the things that are preventing that from occurring, which is going to be old ways of seeing, old ways of thinking. I've got to let that go. I've got to let it go. I can't serve two masters. I can't have both things, the world and God. And those moments of letting it go, letting it go, letting it go. It's not necessarily that you're letting go of the physical nature of the experiences and things in your life. You're letting go of the attachment that you have to them, and you're letting go of the meaning that you've given them so that the true meaning can be written there for you. And the temptation, of course, when you let go of anything is to want to rush in because it feels awkward. You want to rush in and give it another meaning, maybe on a spiritual level. Oh, it's all spiritual and it's all nice now. We're all one, aren't we lovely? No, we're not lovely. We're horrible, fucked up things. We're vengeful, vindictive, judgmental organisms of dark light, misinterpreted, miscreative, non-valued love. But in that, we're perfect. In that, our experience of ourselves as that dark light, our experiences of ourselves as that misassociated entity that we call my body, my identity, my world, my dream, my vision, my whole thing, it's all useful. But it's like sometimes you just got to realize the bitch that you are. Damn, that's a tough gig. I don't want to look that deeply at myself. What if there's shit there I really don't like? You know, it's like, it's a journey into fear. There's going to be shit there you really don't like. But think of it like this. It's not that you don't like it. It's like your secret backup. It's like when God gets too close, you can dig in there and you can find that nasty shit. And you know you can pull it out of the hat. You know that in the moment you're threatened, it's like a lioness, you know, with her cubs. You know that in the moment that a snake comes around, you know that snake's deadly, but you know that nothing's going to stop you from ripping its head off. You're not going to play nice with the snake and hope it goes away. You're going to just like, ah, you know. Where is the selflessness then? Where is that all-encompassing altruistic perspective then, where all things are guaranteed equal passage of life? It's like, nah, that snake's fucked. I'm going to get it. I'm going to kill that snake, right? That potential is within you. Jesus didn't defend himself. Jesus marched up to that hill carrying that cross, knowing full well what was about to happen, knowing full well. He could have chosen not to. He didn't have to go to Jerusalem. He could have run off to Greece or gone anywhere and lived a beautiful life on an island and eaten olives and drank wine and, like, you know, he could have been the man. He could have done anything. He didn't have to do it, but he had to do it. He had to make that decision, that one overriding decision above all things, even though he had a moment of doubt in the Garden of Gethsemane. That doubt only reinforced his resolve stronger. Let this cup pass from me, Father, if it be thy will. So, all the disciples are sleeping. Jesus is having a meltdown. The soldiers are coming. He knows they're coming. The Holy Spirit tells him they're going to come and get you in the morning. They know you're here in the garden. He doesn't try to run away. Did I get that wrong? Did I get the story?
No, that was perfect. That was perfect.
Right. I was there. I remember it clearly. I have a vision in my head. Tell you my vision of Jesus on the cross, it's like, holy crap, it destroyed me. So, no, I don't know if I told you guys this one.
Oh, Jesus. No, you didn't tell me that
one. So,
oh, Jesus.
When I was at the healing center, this'll rock you. When I was at the healing center, I was going through shit. Like you guys think you're going through shit. I just had revelation, man. I had no choice. I couldn't hide from my crap. My crap was just, it was like an overflowing toilet coming up in me. It was like there was no plunger big enough to push that crap back down. It was coming up and I couldn't stop it. And every day was just suicidal thoughts, and every day was just, I can't go on. Every single day it was horrific. And this went on for quite a period.
And at the end cabin, at the last cabin, Christopher and Adele lived in that one, and Ted was across the way. And something within me knew I had to go and see Adele, who was very much the matron of, like the whole, she was beautiful. And I had to go and see her. It was about 7:30 in the evening. And I walked down there completely, like everybody, all the girls used to go and sit with Adele, and Adele would have this beautiful way about her. I didn't want to be a burden. I knew that Adele was always helping people, always, like all day long. People would be knocking on the door, can I talk to you? And I didn't want to, like it was their private time in the evening. But I had to. I had no choice. I was just at my limit. And I went there, and Christopher and Adele were in their rocking chairs, that old couple, sitting in their rocking chairs watching cricket or something on the television or football. And they had a gap of yay big between the chairs and a little coffee table there. They had teacups and whatever, and, all set up for watching the game. And I walked in. I didn't announce myself or anything. Like, nobody ever knocked on the doors. You just walked into people's places and everyone's family. But I knelt down in the little space there and watched the game with them for a minute, and I didn't want to even say anything. I knew Adele and Christopher both knew I was there, and I said hi and whatever, but I knew that Adele, I could feel her in my mind accepting atonement for why I was there, for whatever the reason was. I could feel her doing her own internal processing. She knew somewhere that I had come there to offer her an opportunity to join me in a moment of healing. And she was already doing it in her mind in the armchair while they were watching cricket. And I could feel her processing. Her eyes were closed. She'd gone into a kind of a meditative posture within. And all of a sudden, the whole cabin, Christopher and Adele, disappeared. The whole cabin vanished. There was no TV. There was nothing. And I was in this dusty place. It was an overcast day. I was in like a desert or whatever. I think I was on the hill with Jesus on the cross. I don't really know exactly for sure. It was a vision. And I was looking down at my feet, and I was wearing sandals on my feet. I had leather sandals on my feet. And I've told you this before, haven't I? I think, Tina, I've told you. Yeah. So, and I was looking down, and I was there. Like, I could feel the wind. I could feel the soil under my sandals. Like, it was real. And as I looked up, there was a timber post in front of me, a big fucking cut timber post like this. And I looked up, and my gaze went up, and at about my face height, there was a pair of feet, boom, with a nail through it on the cross. And I knew it was Jesus' feet, and I couldn't look any further up. And I knew that I'd denied the Christ in that moment. I knew that I'd denied him. It was like, holy shit, it was so profound. Even though I'd had a revelation, even though I'd had all this mind training, the actual light bulb moment where I denied the Christ became manifest in me. And I saw what it is that I'd done, and the guilt that I felt came up and up and up, and I cried and I cried. I came back to the room. The room appeared, and Christopher and Adele was there and whatever, and Adele had her arm around me, and I cried for ages. I let it all come out. I didn't want to believe. I didn't even know that I didn't want to believe that I denied the Christ. It was just words in a book up until that moment. It was just something I was reading. Maybe that applies to somebody else. Maybe Jesus wrote that bit for Helen and not really for me, because I felt like I hadn't denied the Christ. I felt like I wanted the Christ. I felt like after all, I'd had a revelation. I'd had a whole illumination of my mind, my enlightenment, my salvation. That had all occurred. It made no logical sense. But I realized that I was going backwards through the process of undoing the particulars of my own story of denial. And that was a part of it. That was a key part of it. And it appeared as a vision. It was very, very powerful. Very, very. It's like, holy goddamn. And everything I'd been through up until that stage prepared me for that. You know, Heidi, you're being prepared for what's about to occur in you. There's something about to occur in you. It's going to be massive. I don't know if you're going to deal with it very well, but it's going to be massive. Your mind training is important. Try to pour your heart into it, your heart. And you've got Tyna, right? Heidi, listen, you've got Tyna. She's in service. You're at the table with the disciples at the Last Supper, Heidi, and Tyna is serving the bread and bringing the wine. She's playing that part for you right now. She's not at the table. She's in service. It's a greater role than being at the table. All those guys sitting around the table, they have no clue what's going on. They just know they're having dinner with Jesus, hanging out with their bro. The next thing you know, he's on a cross and they're like, what the fuck, how did that happen? We were drinking wine and eating bread only 2 nights ago. Whatever goes on, call on Tyna. Anna, same thing. You're off the hook for a while. You've got a bit of free time there. It's like you're on holiday for a second. It feels so good when you have a shift. You're just like, oh, thank God. And you just want to hold it there and you just want to live in your heart with it. And it's like, damn, I'm done with mind training. That's enough. I've had a shift. I feel good now. But it doesn't last that long. It does, but you know, the work continues. I have a bit more head to cut. Any questions? I love you guys. Heidi, I love you. Totally, I love you. You know your mum and dad and they tell you that they love you? I love you more than that. You know your boyfriend, he tells you he loves you? I love you more than that. More than that. To the end of all the known universes. There is nothing, there is no limit to my love for you. None. I'm going to disappoint you. I'm going to upset you. I'm going to represent all sorts of crap. But I'm never going to stop loving you. Don't recover. Peace, everybody. Peace. Did we record that? Was that being recorded? Oh, we got it. So Bernadett, you can. Bernadett.
Holla!
Welcome to our little show.
Throw your hands up, Bernadett. Throw your hands up. I'm gonna holler at her right now.
Right, you do that. I love
right.
you.
Peace.
Bye. Thank you. Love you.
See you tomorrow if you're coming tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do the lessons. We'll do some more 5 lessons and whatever.
All right, we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, Tyna, I was going to ask you just a little housekeeping. Anthea, can you reach out to her?
Yes, we were just talking about that, Jim and I.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. So just do a reach out because there's something, I just picked up on something like yesterday or it might have even been this morning with her. So I don't know what it is, but like there's a prompt, you know, so. Yeah,
that was my intention. So yeah, I just thank you.
Right, okay.
Cool.
Yeah, cool beans. Okay, ciao.
Hey,
Ciao.
have a good.
Bye. You gone, Heidi? Yeah, she's gone. All right, cool. Sometimes we meet for a minute. Oh, you're gone too. All right.